Hi everyone, my name is Saythany. I am a second generation Laotian American born here in America, and today I'm going to be talking about my family's immigration history from Laos to the United States. The main reason why a lot of the Lao people were moving away from Laos and into other locations was because communism was spreading really quickly across the country, and this caused a lot of the Lao people to be displaced and put into refugee camps in Thailand. And ultimately, this is where both sides of my family ended up before they came to the United States. First, I want to talk a little bit about my mother's backstory. So, my mother was brought up and raised in Laos for the first 5 or so years of her life before she eventually moved to Thailand to live with her aunt and uncle, where she helped them work in the rice fields and was able to go to school and learn Thai. In Thailand, she participated in a lot of traditional and cultural events, such as Laos and Thai New Year, where she danced the traditional Lao and Thai dance called Fawn. Similar to my mother's backstory, my dad was also born and raised in Laos as a child, and he eventually moved to Thailand to work and to go to school before he went to the refugee camps to learn English and was eventually sent to the United States. After being in the refugee camp, my mother's side of the family and my father's side of the family came to the US, my mother in 1989 and my father in 1980. When I talked to my mother about this, she told me that she came by plane, and she described the plane to me as being almost a plane full of Lao people, which is not really surprising to me, but it also goes to show just how corrupt and how bad the government was in Laos. And it goes to show how many people were willing to give up their lives in Laos in order to come to America and pursue and have a chance at a better life. The legal processes for the Lao people to stay here in the US were not at all impossible, but they were a bit tedious. You had to have a sponsor living here in the US that would be willing to host you and provide house for you while you search for a source of income and were able to eventually move out and live on your own. My mother's side of the family arrived in Stockton, California, where they were hosted by one of her aunts who was living there at the time. And my dad's side of the family arrived in Elgin, Illinois, where they were hosted by a white family that was hosting a lot of Laotian and Southeast Asian immigrants at the time. Both sides of my family were on welfare, which is basically a monthly stipend from the US government that helped pay for food and other expenses. After welfare and saving up enough money, my mom's side of the family was eventually able to move to Connecticut, where my maternal grandparents ended up working in a factory while my mom and her younger sister went to school. My father's side of the family stayed in Elgin, and my paternal grandparents were working in a factory while my dad worked at a fast food chain while going to school at the same time. My mom and dad were introduced to each other by a mutual friend where they exchanged phone numbers and were able to talk on the phone for about a year before they finally met up and were able to spark a relationship. I won't get into all the details, but they broke up for a little bit before, coincidentally or by fate, reuniting in North Carolina at a Lao Buddhist temple and eventually continuing back their relationship. And here we are today. Despite being in the US for more than half of their lives, both of my parents have done a very good job at preserving their culture and their traditions and making sure that being Lao is always a part of them. Even though I was born and raised here in America, celebrating Lao traditions is nothing new to me, and it's a really important part of my life. Our family has done a really good job of preserving all of our Lao traditions, such as going to a Lao Buddhist temple to receive blessings from the monks and to offer food to our loved ones who have passed away, and going out to celebrate Lao New Year in April and eating lots of Lao food and singing lots of Lao songs and dancing and just having lots of fun in general. I honestly don't think that I would have the life I have today if it weren't for the struggles and the hardships that my parents had to go through to get here in the United States with nothing in their pockets but a few of their belongings. And I really admire and I'm grateful for their strength and their resilience to keep pushing through and to make sure that the generations ahead of them would enjoy a better life than what they had to go through. What makes me really happy is to see that my parents are able to put this all in the past, but when they look back, they don't see this as a bad experience. They see this as something that helped them grow as people. And it just goes to show how strong our Lao community is, and it just makes me really proud of my Laotian heritage and how far my family and so many other families have come since moving to the US and having that opportunity to seek a better life here. Thank you.